got Swood, Rumham Rainey. Quickly, your first thoughts as you just glance over these 2 decks. 4 decks, I guess.
I guess I'll argue for Flash since he's sort of my pick here.
That's right.
I really love the Lava Hound Miner. He's got Inferno Tower in both decks, which is going to make it really hard for both the Expo and Giant Bowler to be super effective. What do you see? Argue for Swood here.
I think that the argument is a little bit made for myself. Neither does Flash have a Giant Bowler deck in his lineup, nor does he have a good answer to the Giant Bowler that exists in Swood's deck. We saw how tough of a time Lava Hound has against these crossbow decks, which Swood does have, as well as the fact that there actually isn't really a good answer for the Giant Bowler that Swood is carrying. So I think that's going to be the hardest thing for Flash to overcome, is the fact that he actually doesn't have... Flash doesn't have terrible matchups, right? But he doesn't have a good matchup.
And when double deck format, every deck you bring is really crucial. You have to win with both of them.
Right.
I think Flash is really hoping to get a good matchup with Lava Hound here in Game 1. If he can steal Game 1 with Lava Hound, then he's in a much more comfortable Expo position. I mean, I think we could comfortably say that Expo is the most powerful deck right now, given how much we're seeing it.
He might be in luck because that is definitely the Giant Bowler deck,
Right.
and this is probably the preferred matchup for the Lava Hound deck.
Absolutely.
So things going just as planned for Flash.
I think he's gonna. Ooh, that Arrows is a bad start. Is the Miner coming in? It is not. So he opts to just sort of play the Lava Hound just to see how it goes, see what his opponent does against him.
So the big thing to notice about this is this Bowler is about to get melted down. Whatever damage this Mega Minion gets is what Swood earns, and that's nothing.
That was so close, though, because if that Ice Spirit was an Olympic long-jumping Ice Spirit, the ever-rare Ice Spirit that jumped
super
3 times,
legendary.
yeah, right? If he would have jumped from a little further away, that Mega Minion, even though it had very, very low health, would have been able to do significant damage, maybe 500 or more, to the frozen tower.
It would have definitely caught up to Flash. The big thing you have to notice is Flash's Lava Hound push was not necessarily super effective, but it was better than Swood's push, and so that actually is concerning for Swood if that happens over and over and over again, which I don't know if it is. That's actually a giant that's very far forward. There's no Inferno Tower. Skeleton Army does a ton of damage, but that's a lot of free damage that Swood got.
I think Skeleton Army overall is so good on defense because even if you do log it, they get their pound of flesh. You know what I mean? Like they're going to get their damage on the tank prior to. Oh, God, here comes the Miner.
Here comes
Watch
Johnny.
those Lava Pups.
That's the Miner, and it's going to actually tank up for the Lava Pups. We talked about the 1-2 punch that the
it's
Lava
still
Hound
going.
provides, and actually the big thing is that Bowler is tanking the majority of the pups, but 2 of them did end up locking onto the tower, and that's going to give Flash the worth that he needs for that push.
Absolutely. All the minions are pretty crazy because, oh, here we go. Let's see, the tower locks onto the Lava Hound. No, it locks onto a minion first. That is unfortunate. You wanted that Lava Hound to be maybe 1 square further ahead because the tower cleans up the minions pretty easily, and you'd much rather have that damage wasted on the Lava Hound itself.
Perfect positioning, the scientific 3-4 that Yarn has all taught us.
That's right.
The 3-4 positioning on the Inferno Tower, far enough away that the Giant has to walk the maximum distance away from the tower.
Thank you, OJ, for educating all of us.
OJ. There's a tech. If this is unchallenged, that Miner will take down the tower.
And it only needs a fireball now to take it down. 20 seconds left. But there's plenty of time for Swood to put together a very deadly giant lightning push. But those swarms, look at the swarms go.
Yeah, I think the reaction on playing the log is just a little bit too slow for Swood in this match overall. We've seen 2 times where Skeleton Army has gone insane value stopping a Bowler Giant push. Typically, you would think that Bowler does really well against Skeleton Army, but when you play it as a surround as opposed to playing it across the bridge, it's a very different story.
Absolutely. That's one of, I think, the key differences between Guards and Skeleton Army when it comes to the Bowler matchup. Is Guards have a really hard time not all getting caught in the same rock, where Skeleton Army is so big, just surround them right there.
Okay, so something I've noticed, flying units, their paths are a little different than ground units. What's the difference there?
Yeah, they definitely, well, because they don't have to worry about
very good
ground
question,
conditions, they sort of move as the bird flies, right? Like they are just,
Right.
they can avoid the river, the bridge, all the sort of distractions there. There are some downsides to it though. One of the weird nuances that players have to learn is that if you have a tower down, your air units actually drift towards the remaining tower.
Oh, really?
They don't just go in a straight line. They
Oh,
kind of,
really?
yeah, they kind
Yeah.
of move over that way. It's very odd.
Huh. So so let's say both towers are up though, and you place it right in the dead center. Let's say a minion horde right in the dead center, back by your king
What
tower.
happens?
What are they gonna?
They split.
Okay,
They
no,
split. Any unit you play that has multiple bodies in it that you play in the middle will almost always split in equal directions. I mean, 3 Musketeers go 2 and 1, Barbarians go 2 and 2, Archers go 1 and 1. There's a whole bunch like that.
Barbarians, interestingly enough, here's a little tidbit. If you play your 4 Barbarians behind the King Tower, they will split 3-1.
Really?
Yeah.
Why
If
is
you
that?
play it in front of the King Tower, they split 2-2.
Hey, okay, little fun facts. Well, yeah, I guess we can get into the benefits of that when we actually see it. But right now, we've got Flash up game 1. He has 1 more game to win, and he's moving on to our finals. If you were Swood in that situation, since he's the one who went a game down, would you have brought that deck first, or would you have switched it up? Why do you think he brought the deck that he did? Because again, even the beginning of these matches are kind of mind games. Like, what's my opponent going to play? What am I going to play against him? Why do you think Swood chose to go with that one?
I actually think you're not too worried if you're Swood, because you know now that Flash has to play the Expo deck.
Okay.
Play your Giant Bowler, regain that point you lost, and then now you just have to deal with the Expo mirror match. So you should play your Giant Bowler and know how to play out that matchup, but be thinking about how you're going to beat Expo mirror.
Definitely push it to game 3. It actually is kind of beneficial for Swood here because he gets to see all of Flash's Expo deck in a favorable matchup, and then when he brings his Expo deck, there's a little bit of mystery there. Flash is going to have the same scouting report.
Yes, absolutely. Swood has shown his Giant Bowler twice, and Flash has not yet had to experience Expo that Swood will execute in.
If he makes it, Flash could take this.
He could,
Absolutely.
he could.
I mean, we've seen already, we mentioned that we think Giant Bowler is not a very good matchup, but it's worth mentioning that Flash made it here by
going
beating
against it.
a Giant Bowler and outplaying it. So he might have a unique strategy or in his head, like a line of play that he uses against Giant Bowler decks to outsmart them. And unless the Giant Bowler player knows what he's trying to set up and do, might be able to Bobby Fischer checkmate him there with some innovative play.
Let's go search for him.
Bobby Fischer. Oh, the Ice Spirit
The
actually
Olympic
jumped.
level jumping Ice Spirit jumps over the rock, hurdles the rock, and gets onto the bowler.
10 points.
Might actually have been in favor of the bowler. Delaying it from coming across the bridge means it's harder for Flash to remove, means the bowler actually tanks up more of the Expo shots. Opens up the opportunity for the Giant as well.
A little chip damage on the tower, though. And it fell short.
Now, it's interesting to me, Swood has chosen not to respond to the Inferno Tower twice now. The first time, he actually took 500 damage to his tower because of it. The second time around, he seems to be looking for a bigger push. Maybe double elixirs when he really wants to start throwing out the lightning.
Swood does not have Zap in his deck. He is a Giant Bowler Lightning player like we saw in round 1, so he's going to really need a lot of elixir, either a Giant or Bowler behind his King Tower to really save up enough for that Lightning. The downside is that if he plays a Giant or Bowler behind his King Tower, he's that much more vulnerable to an Expo.
Uh-oh, Bowler's feeling pretty sad because it's raining whatever minions shoot on your head. That's actually one of the worst things about playing a bowler is that if there's Mega Minion and you cannot contest air superiority, your bowler is just dead in the water.
Twice now, though, Swood has played his Mega Minion in front of the Giant, which allows the Inferno Tower and the Ground Tower just to shred it. A lone Giant isn't terribly threatening. And smart move, though, by Flash, placing his Inferno Tower and Mega Minion far enough away that he couldn't hit the tower and both of those defensive moves.
Gets one swing on the Giant and the lightning on top of that. So I think that Swood might be pretty happy about that, but I would definitely like to see Swood changing his line of play to more, pose more of a threat to Flash right now.
I'm still really surprised that we haven't seen the center Expo, or at least, maybe not center, but not at the river, like back a little bit, to set up for a second Expo a little bit later. That seems like, well, maybe, what do I know? He's locked onto the tower and doing quite a bit of damage, but I think that's a good 1-2 step process. If your opponent spends a lot of elixir to lightning your center Expo, you know they don't have lightning, or really much elixir at all, to set up the next Expo shortly after.
Giant Bowler on the front side. The Ice Spirit actually slows down the Inferno Tower, and the Mega Minion is played just in time to keep tanking it up for that Giant. Big problem now is that the Mega Minion remains on Flash's side and will be able to do a ton of damage to the Giant. And again, a push mitigated, but no damage done for Swood. And Flash can actually play out this matchup continuously in this way. It's not really that Flash necessarily has a win in the bag, but he's definitely not losing.
Yeah, he can't get a little too aggressive or too greedy, though, because Giant Bowler is a 10 elixir push. I mean, we're mostly seeing them as a defensive answer to you know, the Expo. But if you just ignore those cards and try to go down the other lane, Giant Bowler can shred your tower, no questions asked.
It all comes down to how close, and Flash is continuously swapping sides because he knows that it's just much more inefficient if he's having Swood, forcing Swood to play his Giant and Bowler alternating sides. Basically increases his health pool by double.
You're right, because the push is likely not going to knock an entire tower down in one go, whereas Flash is looking just for one Expo to connect, and it will take down the entire tower.
Oh, this is the first time Swood is actually going on the aggressive front, and this might actually be the losing move or the winning one. We'll see. Big lightning perhaps on 3.
Lasers.
No, the Giants actually get lasered down, and now Bowler is the only thing standing in the way of the crossbow, and I feel like Flash has a pretty good setup. There's a Bowler, and the Mega Minion dropped at the same time. Big fireball comes in, but misses the Mega Minion. Inferno Tower nearly melts it, but the last health is the health point that matters, and I don't know. The crossbow is actually going to get taken down by the Giant. Big lightning clears the way, and all of a sudden, how the tides have turned. These guards are going to get the Giant one swing. Oh,
Yeah,
one swing.
You're right. It's back. Back to 1,000.
I'm making it
Raining
back.
magic.
Raining magic.
I think Flash is really cursing that he doesn't have a lightning of his own right now, because that would be the best possible thing that he could use to back up the Expo. These troops in front are fine, but every time the Bowler has been the blocker of choice, and if he could just lightning the tower and the Bowler, the Expo would shred it and then suddenly lock onto the tower shortly after.
We might have a draw. You guys think we're having a draw here?
I think we're gonna have a draw. I think they just like my drawing corner so much that they took the wrong idea of the word and just started saying, hey, we want to draw too.
We also want a draw.
That's not what Flash wants, though. I mean, he definitely, like, it's rare that you as the Expo deck are going to have such a good lead against these enemy decks, so I think he wants to close this out. I don't know if he's going to be able to in 20 seconds, but he did everything right. You know, he played Expo against a bad matchup and got the tower down to triple digits, and he really wants to just close it out.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think the timeline is just not realistic for him now. Something interesting that I will note about Swood's play in this game so far, and this is one of the reasons why I actually think when you're playing Giant Bowler against Expo, the first thing that you want to do is just start cycling lightning. Don't play your Bowler, play your Giant to tank up the crossbow, then use lightning on the crossbow, something, and the tower. The earlier you start doing that, then you get into the situation where you're 1 minute left in overtime. That tower is going to be at 3-digit health, and it's going to be much easier to cycle down. And I think, you know, what is the difference, right? You play your Giant, you play the lightning, crossbow's nearly dead. Flash can play whatever he wants. That Giant's not going to die, right? You can still have time to use your Giant to tank and play whatever cards defensively. You actually don't need your Giant or your Bowler to swing on the tower.
Really?
Just say, I'm just going to get damaged with lightning. I'm going to cede that to my opponent. I'm going to say, I'm going to let you defend whatever comes across the river. I'm actually not going to invest so much. Instead, I'm just going to get guaranteed damage lightning you every single time.
Okay.
And even if the crossbow tags onto your tower and does a little bit of damage, you know that as Giant Bowler, if you feel uncomfortable, just start playing mega defensively. Just start playing Giant, then Bowler, then cycle, Giant, then Bowler, and his crossbow will never touch your
So
tower.
one of the things there is that Flash had Fireball, not Lightning. You were saying, oh, it'd be so good to have Lightning right now. What's the difference of damage to a tower between Fireball and Lightning?
Fireball does 222, Lightning does 357, I think. It's 350 something.
350 something. Definitely not 360 because we got
We
tricked
messed up
many
on that. We
times.
thought it was 363 and it was like 8 left or whatever. Yeah, you're right.
Gotcha.
It's like 354 to make that.
So-
So it's significantly different, but I think the key there is that it does a lot more. Towers only do 40% of their max damage to enemy crown towers. Spells do 40% to crown towers. So it actually, a full lightning does, I think, about 1,100 damage, which is most of a bowler's health pool.
Oh, wow.
All right. Giant in the back and Bowler in the front because Swood happened to start with both his big body cards.
I definitely agree. Well, actually, there might be a lightning. Oh, no, he's got 2 elixir away, and early on, the elixir is so slow that he's only going to have lightning now.
I would
he
do
cast
it. I would do it.
Let's
I would
go.
lightning.
Doesn't want to go to 0 elixir against an opponent with 7 or 8. That could have been pretty deadly. But I agree
That's
with
very
you
true.
that he should be cycling lightning. I really liked your analysis there that, you know, Giant Lightning versus Inferno Tower Expo, that's 11 on 11.
Yeah.
And if your opponent drops that and you just lightning those 2 things, I think the Giant super favored to actually get to
Yeah.
the tower and do at least 2 to 3 punches.
Yeah, and even if it doesn't, what's your opponent going to do with an Inferno Tower remaining? You know what I mean?
good
It's
point,
just
yeah.
sitting there. All right, Giant coming across, and this time the Giant is actually tanking up for the Bowler, but a Mega Minion somehow snuck in there and started doing damage to the Bowler instead. Giant actually makes it through despite the fact that it was getting shot at, but the Mega Minion has to drop the guards to stop the Mega Minion.
This kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier about how willing are you to take damage on your tower. Flash is a little, was even on Elixir at that point. He could have just taken a few Mega Minion swings and said, all right, now we're back at even. Opts instead to play guards. Guards don't really threaten the tower that much, and now Swood has a solid 2 Elixir advantage on Flash.
Yep. Doesn't want to play a big body in the back corner.
And he wasted it. Look at that.
Yeah.
So just like that, they're back to even. Swood leaked, looks like 2 Elixir before casting a card, and that really burned him because now their Flash is caught right back up.
Leaking Elixir, never a good thing.
Never a good idea. You never know when you have an Elixir advantage, too. It's really hard to guess sometimes.
Yes.
And in that situation, I think this is a good lightning for Swood. There it is.
There it is.
Oh, he didn't hit the tower.
That's not good. Giant might make it, but it's getting shot from 3 sides. That's the new triangle.
Ooh, and the Bowler was just out of range of the Expo, so the Expo locks on, and even though it had only a sliver of health left, deals over 500 damage. That formerly pristine tower is down, under 2,000.
Yeah, it's a tough spot for Swood. There he finally
Look
chooses
at the pull. We talked about this, Christian. The slow unit's pulling the other slow unit, taking him on a walk.
back.
That actually is a very, very big distraction for Flash there. Saved himself a lot of damage. The Mega Minion could have changed that push a lot.
Always remember to walk your Mega Minion, folks.
Well, that happened.
You'll regret it if you don't. Mega Minion. Ooh, the Giant barely tanking for the Mega. And it's still not dead. That Mega Minion.
Last hit point matters.
The Ice Golem dies, and the death damage finally takes the Mega Minion down, but definitely more troublesome than Flash would have been willing to deal with.
Flash has a slight Elixir advantage, and if he can use this Inferno Tower and take the 10 Elixir push down with just 5, he'll find himself in really, really good position. I don't know if he even needed to use that log, other than maybe just to cycle and do some chip damage.
Yeah, this Giant is actually going to go nowhere. I feel like this game might go to another draw.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, man.
We're gonna be here all night, you guys.
We're never going home. We're locked here. No, maybe not, though.
We do have draw rules.
Well, we do have draw rules, but on top of that, the lightning cycle, I think Swood's caught on. There's 2 minutes, 15 seconds left to double Elixir time. He only needs, I think, 4 lightnings to close it out, and any other damage from Giants, Bowlers, Mega Minions, etc. can reduce that number pretty dramatically.
I could take the opportunity if it happens. Actually, if the draw happens, then we'll take the opportunity on here and go through our draw rule set. But we'll see. I mean, this could still very much be a winning game. Giant Bowler is nothing to laugh at. It can do a lot of damage.
Ooh, the double Giant forcing his opponent to react on both sides.
Ooh, that's an uncomfortable Inferno Tower spot, actually. Oh, and the Ice Golem not quite dead, but the log will finish it. Giant is slowed up. Mega Minions try to do what they can. I think this Giant's gonna get one.
Throws a punch. No, it does. He gets a punch.
That's one.
Oh, no.
And this is putting it into lightning range, and this is what we're talking about. The faster you start cycling your lightning, the more realistic it all of a sudden becomes to win the match.
And it looks like, I'm not exactly sure with all these Giants in play how exactly Flash is going to be able to deal 1,400 damage in the next minute while not getting lightning out. He's 1 lightning away from death. I think Swood has this, which game 3, but really game 2. They're tying up 1-1. I'm really counting my games now. And, throws it. Flash knows it's over.
Flash just tried to recreate the commercial there.
That's right.
Fireball on the Red King Tower.
There it is. Congratulations, Swood tying it up 1-1 against Flash. They go into a draw once. It seems like Swood learned from his mistakes and is like, all right, fine. Like you said, cycle those lightnings faster, and he gets the damage on it. So we're now going to be going into our 4th game, but like you said, really the 3rd game that really matters to these two, having to play both of their alternate decks to see who will move on to the finals.
All right. I'm glad we avoided the draw.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick, just in case, so people know that we do have draw rules here.
So here are draw rules. You get only 1 draw in a match. So if you draw once, it will be replayed. If there is another draw, if we go to the end of the game and there's another draw, then we go to what we call sudden death rules. And what that means is the player with the lowest health tower is the player who loses. Or yeah, that's actually it. If they go to a draw. If the tower is at the lower health, then
the first draw, just to be clear, so like, you win, I win, then we draw. We play that game over again. In the 4th game, where we draw a second time, whoever has the lower single tower health loses.
Yes.
So if
Yes.
you have 2 towers at 1,000 and 1,000, and I
Yeah.
have a tower at full health and 200, I lose that game.
Right.
Rainy wins.
That's right. So which actually, I mean, it even adds another strategy. You know, when we see the draws, we can talk about it again. But if you know that this is your draw match and you feel like the game is going to a draw again, you might want to start just getting that just random chip damage when you can. When your opponent's
Well,
down.
they're in that situation now, right? Going into game 4, we've had the one draw. They're now tied up 1-1. This game, if it goes to a draw, would be determined by those sudden death rules, correct? Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yep.
It is an Expo mirror match as well. So we're going to see a lot of spells and a lot of struggle to get your Expo set up. This could go either way. Yeah.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, here it is. Let's see which one of these 2 players will move on to the finals.
All right, Ice Spirit,
Flash.
Ice Spirit. Who's gonna play the first crossbow?
When I look at their crossbow or their Expo decks, gosh, you have such bad habits, Rainy. Knock it. They actually, get this, not only is it an Expo mirror match, it is a literal mirror match. They are playing 8 cards
really?
the same. Well, remember, they're clan mates who probably prepared for this together, so they determined
These
this
are the best.
is
This is the best one.
the best thing we can do.
Makes sense.
So they're actually playing, we'll go over it, you're going to see all 8 cards. Log Fireballs are their spells, Expo, Inferno Towers are their buildings, Ice Golem, Guards, Mega Minion, Ice Spirit for troops.
Woo! All right, who can play it better? This is the true question.
It looks
I
like
love it.
Flash opens up the opportunity for him to leapfrog Expos.
I think that's the smartest thing here because
Yep.
what you're afraid of when you play your Expo is the Inferno Tower, right? So by having another Expo already on the board, Flash has the ability to play his Expo while the Inferno Tower is still setting up. It's getting shot already, and then you have 2 Expos knocking it down.
I think, however, Flash decides not to do that just yet. Maybe after this Mega Minion comes across. Gets one swing, gets another. That's about all it can do then.
Both of them are very careful. They're leaking Elixir because they don't want to make the wrong play. Even though Elixir efficiency is very important, this is all going to come down to who just gets one clean Expo going crazy on the opponent.
That Mega Minion is actually slowed down. It's going to lose the fight. But the Ice Spirit jumps
still
up and it's
going.
out of tower range. That buys enough time for the
do it.
Expo to push Swood's tower health down to 818, and Flash takes the early lead in this match and doesn't look like he wants to slow down. I think so far decision making has been on Flash's side.
I think this is Flash's probably his best deck. I think he plays Lava Hound. It's his favorite sort of tanky build deck, but he wants this deck in the final game of the match because this is the one he's most comfortable with and he thinks the most powerful in the format.
Hard to argue
I think
against it.
Yeah, at this point, I don't think he even has to play another offensive Expo. He can play all of his Expos in the center there. There's no lightning on his opponent's side, so he can just sit there and shoot anything that comes down.
Yeah.
And he knows it.
Yeah. It's so hard to come back in an Expo mirror match if you get this far behind.
35 seconds, especially once you go into overtime, it just comes down to, well, who gets the first shot off. Oh no, the Expos are gonna duel. Oh, the Ice Spirit got shot off the board.
Good defense on Flash's side. And the center place Expos, definitely something that I think Marcel P did very well when he was having his run in the first Coronation Day.
Now this is going to be 2 fireballs. There's not enough for a log and a fireball to take it down. So Flash has to play through 2 more cycles of his deck, and we can see already that Swood's playing very aggressive. He knows
He's got to go.
He's got to go.
Yeah.
And the Expo was placed up actually further than it normally is because Swood knows if he plays it 1 square back using the maximum amount of range, he's
He's got to get to it. He's got to get to it.
Oh no! Wait!
What?
Takes it just in the nick of time there. Really coming down to the final segments, but it is going to be Flash who moves on to be our first finalist of our Coronation Day number 3. That was like that was incredible.
There were 2 really key plays there that it showed how experienced and how smart of players these 2 are. Swood knew if he
gotta cycle
played his
fireball.
Expo. Okay, you can play the Expo 1 tile off of the bridge. If you play it there though, it's within range of a fireball hitting both. Swood smashes the Expo as far up as he can so that Flash can't fireball it.
Both.
And that gave the Expo a little extra health, a little extra time and damage.
Sorry, forgive your ears.
Yeah.
We're sorry. That was incredible though.
Flash had a greedy log I didn't really like. Maybe he was just playing it to get rid of stuff in the way, but he actually logged and it just put the tower down to 48
40
health.
something, yeah.
A fireball would have
my
been
gosh.
the same there, so I don't know if that log was necessary and he almost lost the game for it.
Whew, that was close. Now we were talking about the thing of if your opponent spends a spell, right, a fireball, he's 4 down. And Swood clearly saw that because he's like, all right, now Flash is to go. He's gonna spend a fireball, so now I have this huge advantage. What I guess, do you think Flash knew that he was still gonna be okay, or do you think he cut it close?
You might have hoped.
Okay.
That's as close as we can get. Yeah, as close
I
as we can
think let's take a look at some
Minor
of these.
Lava Hound here.
Minor Lava Hound, we've seen this actually a surprising amount of times in the Clash Royale North American Open. Lava Hound is kind of one of the popular kind of side decks that we would see. Expo and Giant Bowler taking kind of the main stage, but for very good reasons. I mean, look at how much damage that thing did.
Yeah, it's such a great combo. It's only 10 elixir, which sounds like a lot. It's all the elixir I can have.
Yeah.
But think how effective, and that can shred a tower in a way that a lot of other 10 elixir pushes can't. And it requires very specific counters. That expo early on, locking on, was really the key
So
in the match. It changed it so that Flash could start playing defensively instead of feeling like he had to struggle and keep playing expos at the river.
All right, well, let's go ahead and pull up the brackets now. As we're just finishing our first semi-final match, we have one more to go before the finals. So like we said, Flash moving on there to be the finalists. Up next is going to be Flawless versus Isopa. So here's the thing. Rumham, your pick is in. Flash has made it to the finals,
Yeah.
and now this comes down to you, Rainey, because you said Isopa is your
Pressure's
pick.
on.
Are you still confident Isopa can take this one against Flawless?
I'm nervous because Flawless can never lose.
That's right, yeah.
He can never lose. So I don't know. Now that Rumham's pick has made it, I'm really kind of the pressure's on.
Yeah, it is.
I really need my pick to make it.
Rainey's got a good eye, though. Because remember in Season 1 of Super Magical Cup, early on, like in the first 3 weeks of Season 1 of Super Magical Cup, I was like, I think Woody's a really good player. And Rainey was like, I think Clark Kent's a really good player. And
both
weeks
made it.
later, they
Called it.
finished first and second in the leaderboard. So I really trust Rainey's eye for skill. I remember the first time that we ever met and sat down, he pulled up